I thrifted every single book that you see right here. Over the course of a month, I went to over 30 thrift stores, with the majority of those being Goodwills, and then one used bookstore. From these stores, I got 52 books for a grand total of $130.67. So that's about $2.51 on average per book. I have learned that Phoenix, Arizona is the place to go if you want to go thrifting for books. They have so many Goodwills in the greater Phoenix area. They're all within like pretty close distance to each other, and each of those Goodwills was massive, and they all had massive book selections. The majority of these books I haven't read yet, but there were a few books that I read on my Kindle originally, and then I found the physical copy to have as a trophy, so I'm very excited about those. I am so stoked about my finds. I got so incredibly lucky, so yeah, let me show you what I got. Starting off with The Alchemist, the 25th anniversary edition specifically. This one is in basically perfect condition. I don't think that this has been used at all. For some reason, I didn't know that The Alchemist was such a small book. I was very surprised when I picked it up in the store. Next, we have The House in the Cerulean Sea, which I have heard incredible things about. This has been on my TBR for about a year or so now, I would say. I've heard it's very cozy, and so yeah, I'm very excited about this one. Next up, we have Pachinko. I actually have never read a book that was originally written in Korean. I think that I am going to watch the show first before I read the book. That's usually how I like to approach any TV, like movie adaptations from books. This copy has definitely been well loved. It has a little bit of wear and tear, and it was also one of my more expensive purchases at a whopping total of $3.99. We also have This Summer Will Be Different by Carly Fortune. I have never read any of her books before, and so yeah, I'm excited to see what she has in store. I know that her books are very popular. It definitely does seem like it'll be a nice beach read. A Far Wilder Magic, again, this is a book that has been on my TBR for quite some time, and I was just absolutely so stoked to see this in the store. After that, we have The Nightingale. I actually have only read one book by Kristen Hanna so far. That was The Women, and I actually wasn't the biggest fan of it. I gave it 3 stars. I just found that the writing style didn't really allow me to really connect with the characters and what they were going through. Some characters also seemed like a little bit one-dimensional to me at times. But obviously, The Nightingale is like a living legend of a book at this point. It is so popular, and also is a lot of people's favorite book of all time. So high hopes for this one. Next, we have To Kill a Kingdom. This is a book that I've actually already read. I gave it 5 stars, and so I read it on my Kindle originally, and I'm very excited to now have a physical copy as a trophy. We have The Wedding Party. I don't know too much about this book actually. I just briefly read the premise while I was in the store. I also have The Fine Print by Lauren Asher. I've never read anything by her before. I have seen this series talked about quite a bit though on the internet, and so I'm very curious about it. Although I have to say, I have my hesitations about billionaire romances. I just think they all kind of start to feel and like read the same after a certain point, so we'll see. I found Happy Place by Emily Henry. I've only read 2 Emily Henry books so far, Beach Read and then People We Meet on Vacation, and I rated both of them 2 stars. I don't know if I'm too much of an Emily Henry fan. I don't know if she's for me, but I know that people who've read her work like this book especially, and so I just really have been meaning to give her another chance, and so when I saw this in store, it honestly felt like fate. We have The Guest List, which is a mystery thriller, I believe, and has like over 1 million ratings on Goodreads, which is actually insane, but I really don't read too many mystery/thriller books, and I have really been meaning to expand like more into the genre, so I'm very excited about this. I found Remarkably Bright Creatures, which I actually think I'm gonna do, what do they call it when you listen to the audiobook and then read along as you listen? Tandem reading? No. Immersive reading? I think that's right. Anyways, I've heard that the audiobook for this is really good, so I want to do that when I eventually get around to reading this. We have The Song of Achilles. I read Circe. I actually listened to it on audio, and then I bought the physical copy afterwards because I just loved it that much, and I had to have a physical evidence of my obsession with it. But I've not read The Song of Achilles yet. I've honestly been putting it off because I just know it's gonna break my heart, and I don't really know if I want that right now. I manifested finding Project Hail Mary. And then third on my list is Project Hail Mary, the original cover. I do not want the cover with Ryan Gosling's face on it, so. And that's on motherfucking manifestation, baby. Let's go. So yes, I manifested this. I spoke this into existence. I was so happy to find this in the store. It's in fantastic condition. Again, this is a book that I've already read. I listened to the audiobook. It's my favorite audiobook of all time. And I have just been on the hunt for a physical copy ever since I listened to it. My one and only purchase from my one and only used bookstore that I went to is Six of Crows. I read the duology back in like, what, 2018, 2019? And it is one of my favorite series of all time. Like, I am obsessed with these books. Again, I read them on my Kindle though, as I do with most of my books, and I have been on the hunt for a physical copy ever since. I am now on the hunt for Crooked Kingdom. We have The Spell Shop, which I really only know about because Lexi, aka Newly Nova, posted about it on her YouTube channel. I think I watched that video, and then the next day or like a few days after that, I went book thrifting and found this. And again, it just felt like fate. So yes, we have The Life Impossible, a signed copy actually. I know nothing about this book, honestly. I also picked up The Midnight Library, which I also have not read. We have The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. I haven't read either of the Hunger Games prequels yet, and I think that I'm going to... No, for this, I'm going to read the book first before I watch the movie. I just feel like I'll be doing the book a disservice if I do it the other way around, and I also have full faith that the movie adaptation does a really good job based off just what I've heard on social media, and the fact that the Hunger Games, like the original movies, were incredible adaptations of the books. Once again, I know that this is gonna break my heart. So will I be starting this soon? Who knows? I found all 3 books in the Locked Tomb trilogy. Actually, I think that there's a 4th book coming out, right? I haven't read these books yet. I found Gideon the Ninth at one store, and then I found Nona and then Harrow the Ninth at another store. We have Hello Beautiful. I also have to admit, I don't know too much about this book, but I've heard it talked about a lot in very, very good ways. So I have a very strong feeling that this is gonna be a book that I really enjoy. We have A Conjuring of Light. I was absolutely stunned to see this book in store. I remember with this book specifically, I was on my way home from doing some other book thrifting, and I thought that I had already gone to this Goodwill, but then I passed by it, I saw like the sign for the Goodwill, and I didn't really recognize the plaza that it was in, so I decided to just go in and take a look, and this was one of the first books that I saw when I went into the store. I've already read the Shades of Magic trilogy. I listened to it on audio a few years back, and I love the trilogy overall as a whole. I do have the physical copy of A Darker Shade of Magic, and so yeah, I guess I'll just be needing book 2 at this point. Clockwork Angel, book 1 in the Infernal Devices, which I have not read yet, and I don't really know why, honestly. I am a fan of love triangles if they're done well, and I have heard time and time again that the love triangle that's in this series is like one of the best portrayals of a love triangle. I DNF'd the Mortal Instruments when I was a teenager after book 4, I think. I have to say, from what I remember, I wasn't too impressed with where I left off with the Mortal Instruments, and so that's kind of played a part into why I haven't picked this series up yet, but I've decided to look past that. And so yeah, I'm very excited to be starting this finally. We have books 4, I think, and then book 6, I want to say, of the Maximum Ride series. I got these for my niece. She is currently reading the series herself. I read them when I was her age. I recommended the books to her because I just remember absolutely loving them. And so yeah, she's been having a really good time with them as well. It's made me so happy that she's been enjoying them. I did unfortunately donate a lot of my books about like 10 years ago, I want to say, and the Maximum Ride books were a part of that donation. And so I've just been on the hunt for them every time I go thrifting. We have books 1, 2, and 3 in the A Good Girl's Guide to Murder series. When I went to go purchase these, one of the Goodwill staff came up to me and said that they read the books and that they were really hoping that someone was going to pick them up because they just absolutely loved them. Very, very happy about these. We have The Gilded Wolves, which I just remember so vividly being everywhere on BookTube in like 2018 when it first came out. Everybody was talking about it. It has been on my TBR since 2018, and yeah, it's about time I actually get around to reading it. We have The Martian, which actually I had found a few other copies of The Martian before I found this one. I found like a very glossy style of the cover, which I wasn't a fan of. And then I found about 2 other copies with the more matte cover, but they were in not the best condition. So I was very happy to finally come across this one. It's in fantastic condition. I have not read the book yet, but if it comes even like close to the experience that I had with Project Hail Mary, like I can almost guarantee you I'm gonna love this book. We have The Thursday Murder Club. I would say that this is one of 4 copies that I found of this book in all of my thrifting adventures. I've heard very mixed reviews on this book. I know it's popular, but I've also seen a few of my favorite reviewers on Goodreads give it like 2 or even 1-star rating. So I am curious to see what I end up thinking about it. I also found Sex and Rage, which I didn't realize at the time. I didn't realize that it was such an old book, 1979 original printing. I really only read books that are from like the last 3 decades, you know, nothing really prior to like 2000, I would say. I feel like it'll be really interesting just to see, I feel like how literature has developed developed since the time that this was written, like comparing this to the books that I read nowadays. Also, I'm just like obsessed with this cover. I just think it's like so simple and like classy and chic. I found Itachi's Story, which is one of the Naruto light novels. I have one of Sasuke's light novels, but yeah, I haven't read any of the other characters' light novels so far. I've been a Naruto fan since I was 10 years old, and yeah, I'm obsessed with Itachi. Just one of the most, I think, complex and tortured characters throughout all of anime, honestly. Excited to get to this. The Wedding People, I've never seen The Wedding People at any thrift store that I've ever gone to, so I was very shocked to see this one in store. Getting close to the end here, I found Blood Marked, which is book 2 in the Legendborn Cycle series. I have not read this series yet. I really don't know why. I have such a strong feeling that I'm gonna love it. I have heard absolutely nothing but good praise for this book and for this series as a whole. All the Light We Cannot See, I found so many copies of this book while I was thrifting. So yeah, if you've been looking to pick up a copy of this book, like go check out your local thrift store. They might just have it. I originally tried to listen to this book on audio, but I don't know if the audiobook is really for me. I really gravitate towards audiobooks that are very engaging, kind of punchy, just really draw you in and capture your attention, because I listen to them while I run and I really need them to distract me from the pain of running. And this was not doing that for me, but that's all right. We'll be giving it a shot with the physical copy. After that, we have Cloud Cuckoo Land, which I had never heard about before. I did not know that this book even existed, but yeah, we're gonna be giving it a shot. It was $4.99. I think that this was actually officially, besides Six of Crows, because I got that at a used bookstore, I think this was my most expensive find overall. We have All Fours, which is definitely my most damaged book of them all. Yeah, we've got some water damage for sure. Not so much when you look at it this way though. It's all right, I'll be able to look past that. All I really know is that Jack Edwards loves this book. So I have never really taken a recommendation from him before. For these last 10 books or so, these are all book of the month books. I found so many book of the month books when I went thrifting. And let me just say, I think I have some gems with these ones. I almost cried when I found The Heart Principle in store. As a romance lover, this is one of my top 10 favorite romance books of all time. I just never really expected to find any Helen Huang books at any thrift store. I was filming a video for my TikTok account and I caught myself, like my live reaction, seeing this book for the first time, and I just about lost my mind. I don't think I've ever cried while reading a romance book as much as I did while reading this one. It is heartbreakingly beautiful. It is such a beautiful story. It tackles a lot of things in the book and it does it all so well. I think that Helen Huang as an author does such a good job at writing from her experience, but in a way that really makes it feel like unique to the characters. Like she really makes it feel like a story rather than just a retelling of her life. I think that this was the find that I was most excited about out of all of these books. Book number 2 from Book of the Month is The Wishing Game. I really don't know too much about this book, honestly. I really haven't even read the summary, but I think also one of my goals while I went thrifting is to still pick up some books that I really didn't know too much about, just as a way to really like expand my horizons and to give books a shot that maybe I normally wouldn't. Is she really going out with him? This is a romance book that has been on my TBR for about a year or so, I would say. The premise of this book just sounds so cute to me. The main character is divorced, she has 2 kids, and she lets her kids essentially choose like a number of dates for her to go on that are all found offline. I found Wild Dark Shore at a Goodwill that was probably the messiest out of all of the ones that I went to. It was a bit of a hot mess, honestly, and I found this just like buried in a stack of books like on the very bottom shelf. I'm very thankful that I really, at all these Goodwills, I really took my time and made sure that I looked at every single book, because you never know what gems might be hiding for you. I have very high expectations for this book. This is another one that I've heard just like nothing but good things about. Home Before Dark, this is a horror/thriller book. I have never read anything from Riley Sager before. I mean, that kind of is a given the fact that I really haven't read too many like thriller books, as I said. I just finished reading Rock, Paper, Scissors by Alice Feeney, and I was extremely underwhelmed by that. I just really need a thriller book to thrill me. That's all I'm asking for from the genre. Hopefully this will do that for me. The Ex-Hex. This is another one that I've heard very mixed reviews on. The Vanishing Half. I don't really read too much historical fiction and especially literary fiction. 2 of my favorite book reviewers, Emily May and then Read with Cindy, both gave this 5 stars. So I have very high expectations for this one. Razorblade Tears I found at my very last stop from a day where I went to 17 stores in total. And I just knew that my last stop was gonna go out with a bang. Passion Project. I saw Read with Cindy talk about this on her YouTube channel for a bit. I had not heard of it before that. Don't know too much about it, but again, we will be giving this a shot. Last and certainly not least, we have Love on the Brain. I have never found Allie Hazelwood at a thrift store before. I have found her books at used bookstores before, before, but not at just like your regular old thrift store. I haven't read this book yet, but I would say that my experience with Allie Hazelwood so far has been kind of all over the place. 3 of her books I've rated 5 stars, 1 book I gave 2 stars, and then 1 book I gave 3 stars, I think. The last book I read from her was Problematic Summer Romance, and I went into that book with very low expectations, just given the fact that I had heard so many mixed reviews about it, but I ended up loving it. I gave it 5 stars. And so I've definitely heard very mixed reviews about this book especially, but I have since learned to really just approach her books with an open mind, because who knows? Just because it hasn't worked for so many people doesn't mean that it won't work for me. And I've learned that with Allie Hazelwood, I think it really just does depend on the person as to like which book is gonna work for them. Every single one of these books, again, was purchased in Phoenix, Arizona. I never thought I'd be saying this given the fact that Phoenix is like the antithesis of everything bookish, but I do think that if you want to go book thrifting, Phoenix is the place to go. Your next vacation might just need to be in Phoenix for that very reason, you know, maybe bring an extra suitcase. Make sure that you go during like fall, winter time, you know, I don't think you'll have too much fun in the summertime there. I myself am planning on going back to Phoenix in the next few months, and there is like a whole section of the greater Phoenix area that I did not go to in regards to my book thrifting. Like there's probably 20 more Goodwills that I still have yet to hit up. So yes, there is a very good chance that I will be doing another thrifting haul like this in the near future. In the meantime though, I'm going to work on actually getting through these books. A little overwhelming, but also very exciting. And I'm just like so happy too that I got these all for such a good deal. But yes, until then, take care and I will see you next time.